Bots and Books fans? This is Scorp1701, and tonight we're going to be taking a look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael from Super 7. Yay, Super 7. Now, you may remember Super 7 is a company that has been putting out toys for a while now. They did a nice line of He-Man toys. We are currently reviewing their Thundercats line, and the second wave of that is supposed to be coming out very, very soon. Well, technically the third wave because there was a whole... Anyway. But they've also released a line of Ninja Turtles. Now, these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are different than the NECA Turtles that we reviewed before, because the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were based on the cartoon, whereas the Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were based mostly on this guy, or these guys. These are the Playmates toys that came out in the 80s, and they wanted to do an updated version of these particular toys. So they put a series out, and I was on the fence about getting them. I wasn't really sure. I already had the NECA Turtles, so why would I need another set? But then I saw it in the store, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is just so cool. So I decided, yeah, why not? I'll pick it up. So the first one in the line is Raphael, and as you can see, it comes in a nice brown cardboard box. All right, well, don't get too concerned. This is just like a mailer box, and they did it with Thundercats, so the real awesomeness is inside. But taking a look at the mailer box, you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Raphael, ages 14 plus, Nickelodeon, Super 7. And then on the back, you have some credits for the box, Super 7 Nickelodeon, and a barcode. So that is pretty neat. And I think it's interesting to note that on this warning label, his says choking hazard, may contain small parts, adult collectible, not a toy. So whatever is in this box is not a toy. Keep that in mind. All right, so get this thing open and pull this tab out. Yeah. And like this. Open it up, and then we will pull out the main box. So here it is. Wow, check that out. I think that's actually just the back of the box, and you have a nice label. So let's turn this thing around. Oh, how awesome is this box? Wow, nice and green. You have a nice Ninja Turtle face there, and it's supposed to be Raphael because you have some size on the side. That is a cool little logo. Let's zoom in to see that really closely. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and you have Raphael's name there at the bottom, and you have Super 7, ages 14 plus here. On the top of the box, you can see Ultimates. Nothing here. Nothing here. On the bottom of the box, you just have some credits, barcode, Super 7, and on the back of the box, which we saw earlier, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. Very nice, very vibrant. Says contents and the Super 7 logo there. All right, so now, as we have seen in the Thundercats, this box will flip up. This is like a slip cover on the front. So we will bring this up slowly to reveal the real awesomeness of this figure. And there is Raphael in all of his glory, and that is so cool. You can see him in there. He is so neat. You can see a lot of accessories, which we'll go over. You can see the figure there, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Raphael. Again, you can see some awesome artwork this side of the box. You have some graffiti there, the sewer bricks. That is cool. On this side of the box, similar thing, storm drain. And wow, this is so cool. Coming to the back of the box, you have some detail here, little turtles there. Raphael, the witty voice of the turtles, have a little bit of a read up, so we can zoom in real quick. You can see that, pause it to your heart's content after you read it, but we must be moving on, so let's go back. Check it a look, Super 7 Nickelodeon here, and that is the box, and this is such a beautiful, beautiful box, and the presentation is very awesome. So, without further ado, let's get him out of there because I don't want to see him in the box. I know you don't, so let's see what he can do. And here we have Raphael out of the box. And out of the box, he stands at approximately 6 inches tall. And as you can see, he comes with a lot of accessories. And we will get into each of those later. But right now, I want to take a closer look at Raphael himself. So coming real close in on Raphael, you can see they nail the toy aesthetic very, very nicely. You have his nice light green head, red bandana, nice triangle-y eyes. You can see his teeth, and if you remember on the toy, and we'll bring him out real quick, you can see that each of the turtles' mouths on the toys were a little different, and Raphael had teeth showing on all sides. Don't even think turtles have teeth, but still, this was a good indication that they were going from the toy premise. And got some nice detail here in his neck. Coming down shoulders, nice front shell, nice and orange. It is kind of rubbery, so you get a little detail there. You got a little bit of battle damage in there. You can see some chips, so that's pretty neat. His arms are all the same color, green. You got your elbow pads and your wristbands all in the color of red. You actually have a neat little shade difference on his fingertips. To show a little bit of difference in the color, so that's neat. Coming back to his midsection, you can see his belt here. Now, it is not the standard black, it is the standard kind of black belt, but they did add a little bit of detail coming off of the buckle on the sides. Kind of updated a little bit. Nice R and done in yellow. You can see this is the port where he has his size, and coming around to the back, you see there's a little bit of detail here. You got a little hole there, and you have the same fist dagger sheath right here on his back he can have. Taking a look, his shell is very, very well done. You can see a lot of awesome detail in those sections, and it looks like he's even been attacked by Shredder because he's got some slashes in his shell, so that is pretty neat. I like that a lot. And here's the back of his head. You see the back of his bandana. Going back up there for just a little bit. Now coming back down, his legs are green, same green throughout, and red knee pads, so that is pretty cool. His toes do have the differential in his toenail, as you can kind of see there, so that is cool. And yeah, that is what Raphael looks like. I think he is very, very well done, and updated version for the toy. All right, moving on. And for articulation, he has a ton. I can't believe how much articulation this guy has. So, starting at the head can go around 360 degrees. It can pivot to the left, and it can pivot to the right. It can actually move forward and backwards because it's on a hinge, so he gets a little good head motion. It's cool. The bandana doesn't twist around like on the NECA. It just sits there and it's kind of rubbery, so it does have a little bit of give into it, but not much. Shoulders are on a hinge, so they can go up and then they can go back down. They can go all the way around 360 degrees, and that brings you down to his bicep swivel. He does go all the way around 360 degrees. He does have an elbow bend, which is not exactly 90 degrees, but his muscles get in the way, so it's an unusual complaint, but he does have an elbow bend. And he has an independent forearm rotation apart from the bicep, so that's pretty neat. Turns all the way around 360 degrees, and it brings him down to your wrist. The wrist goes around 360 degrees. Again, it depends on which hand. I think all the hands are articulated though, and they can move in and out because they are also on a hinge. So coming down to his chest section, he has no ab crunch because this is one solid piece, but he does have waist articulation, and I found this out when I was looking at the NECA turtles. I was like, wow, I never suspected that he would have waist articulation because I figured it was just one solid piece, but like NECA, this guy does. You can turn him all the way around, and he does go 360 degrees. Wow. Because of NECA, I would have never thought to look for that. So it is there, and it is nice. So Coming down to his legs are on ball joints, so they can have a wide variety going out to the side, going up a little bit. If you get this like bottom of the shell out of the way, it is kind of soft, so you can move it up. The leg can move up that far, can't really move back as far as it could because of the back shell, and you can't get that one out of the way. But if the back shell wasn't there, yeah, this thing could move all sorts of ways. So he does have a thigh rotation, and it does go around 360 degrees. Does have a knee bend, not exactly very high or double knee bend, but you know, you get the idea. It's a knee bend. And then you come down to the foot. The foot is on a hinge, so it can go down a lot and it can go up a lot. And it also is on a rocker, so it can rock left and right and all the way around the world. So, wow, this guy is fully articulated. There is nothing on him that really doesn't move except maybe his abdomen. But I don't know. This is cool. The only downside about having so much articulation in a figure is that over time he starts to wobble. So this guy's legs do feel a little loose because of all the articulation. But as long as I can get him in a standing pose like this, which I can, I think it's good. So that is it for his articulation. Moving on. And starting with accessories, we have the alternate head, and this alternate head is really cool. It's not exactly toy accurate, but it would be kind of toy accurate if the toy got updated to the point and you got him a little more realistic. The teeth are a little more painted and the face a little more, I don't know, I don't want to say human, but humanoid with a rounder head. The bandana is a little longer than what we had on the toy head, and it looks really good on him. So if you're not exactly want to go with toy accurate, you can have this guy and you have a pretty good idea that it is still an updated version. Alright, moving on. And for the next accessory, we have this nice weapons rack. It is very reminiscent of how the original toys weapons came. They were pegged onto this little tree and you would have to pull them off. They weren't painted. They had kind of a light brown coloring to them. They were just molded in plastic. But as you can see here, you have two sides. You have the fist dagger, and I always thought this thing was like a pizza dagger, and then whatever this little blade is, and you have two Chinese throwing stars. So that was pretty neat. You can pull these off and use them as weapons if you want to, but I wouldn't suggest it. I would say just leave it how it is, because you do get the similar weapons that we're about to go over that are already off the rack and painted for you. Alright, moving on. And starting with his signature weapons, in this set you get 3 sets of size, including the ones on the weapons tree. And these two, you have a regular gray molded one out of plastic with a little bit of black for the handle wraps, and then you have this more prestige one with silver paint and the black for the handle wraps. And this is an awesome, I think this would indicate this is the second release of this figure, because I think they only came out with 2 sets in the primary release of the figure. But yeah, I love the silver on these sides, and you know, this is okay if this is all you got, but with this, wow, look at that, shines really nice and neat. And he can put that in his little sheath in the front, or he can hold them and be battling, so that is pretty cool. Moving on. And for the next accessory weapons, you have these nicely painted Chinese throwing stars, and they're really, really nicely done. They are a bit sharp, and they're just stars. He can hold them, and he can kind of put them on his side. There isn't anywhere to store them on his belt. It seems like if they had like a little tab on his belt, he could like just stick them in there, but there isn't. So I don't know, you might want to just put them up, or you might lose them. So they are pretty neat. Glad to have them. Alright, moving on. And for his next accessory, we have this nice fist dagger looking thing, and he can hold this really well, and it's done in a nice silver and with a little bit of brown for wraps for the mold of the handle. And yeah, it's kind of sharp. So you have this, and if you're not holding it, there's nowhere to store it. So again, you might want to put this in a bag or something, or it may get lost. All right, moving on. Next up, we have this little hook blade weapon. Again, very nicely done. Silver paint, nice brown wraps for the handle, and he could hold this and attack with this, but there's nowhere to store it on his person. So, if you're not using it, you might just want to store it away. All right, moving on. And for his final weapon accessory, you have this thing, which I call the pizza dagger, because I thought it always looked like a pizza. Now, this could be the fist dagger. I do apologize that I don't know the names of all these weapons, but still very nicely done in silver, little brown handle there. It can fit nicely in his hand, and he can attack with it, and he does have the sheath on the back of his belt, where this can actually be stored if you want to store it on there. And I don't see why not. Nothing else is going there, so keep it there so he can have an extra weapon. And kind of interesting fact, I think, if I remember correctly, if you guys are comic book fans and you're reading this story called The Last Ronin, spoiler alert if you haven't been reading that series, it's about a dystopian future, but I think this is the type of weapon that kind of did him in. So anyway, that is his weapons. Moving on. And next up, we have a turtle communicator. Now, I don't remember the original turtles coming with communicators. I think this may be something exclusive to the set, but it's really nicely done. This is the opened position one. You have some reds and some greens. You can see a nice little blue monitor there. Got a lot of color in there, reds and greens and yellows, and for the buttons, a little bit of silver coming around the sides, some more greens and reds for the bottom, and the antenna up here at the top, it is kind of bendy. On the back, you just get a little bit of molded detail, nothing too great or picked out in color. So this is the open version. You also get a closed version, which is basically just a small round turtle shell looking thing, and these neat little ridges here on the back, so that matches up. And he could hold both of these really well. So yeah, I think it's a neat little accessory. Moving on. And for his next accessory, he has a nice, very nice looking piece of pizza. This looks almost edible. I mean, look at that. Nice brown for the crust. The gloss they put on here makes it look all wet and oily and tasty. Oh, that look, I just want, that looks so good. I think I'll have pepperoni pizza for dinner tonight. But anyway, yeah. Comes with this. It's great. Every Ninja Turtle needs a piece of pizza, and he can hold it and pretend he's eating it, and wow, they did a real good job on this. Alright, moving on. And for his last accessories, he has 3 sets of alternate hands, giving him 4 sets of hands all together. So the hands are different depending on what kind of accessories that you want them to hold. So you have a pair of Sai holding hands, and then you have a really small set of hands to hold like things like the throwing stars. And then you have like another set of medium-sized hands to hold the communicator and stuff. So it really depends. You'll just have to mix and match the hands to get him to hold whatever accessory you want him to hold. So I'm glad they gave us them, I guess, but because you definitely need them to hold the accessories, but it's a lot of hands to keep up with. Alright, moving on. And full comparison, here he is with the toy version we looked at a little earlier, but we never really set them side by side except just to look at the head. But you can see the head is pretty much the same in feature. The coloring, the shade of the turtle is pretty much, you got that light green, the belt, and pretty much the overall presentation. Now, it does differ on the back. When you come to the back of the toy, he has a much greener shell than this guy. I guess, I mean, we have to see the others to see if it's really darker, but I think the shell is the variation of the toy, and I think they could have definitely done a lot darker if they wanted to, and maybe all the shells are going to be the same, but I'm not sure. We'll have to take a look at that when the others come out. All right, and that's your comparison with the original toy. Moving on. And for comparison again, here you have him with the NECA cartoon turtle, the Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael, and the Abomination, which is the Playmates classic Ninja Turtle Raphael. And I think of all of them, you can get these two out, and you're left with these two. And these are going to be your best Raphael interpretations, whether you like the cartoon or the toy. And then if you just want one, you'll just have to choose, in my opinion, between these two. And I'm so happy that I don't have to choose because, you know, I'm well off enough to be able to buy them both. But I still think that in the end, the NECA Toon Turtle is going to be my favorite. Not that the Super 7 is bad. I mean, they are both really, really good figures. And like I said, the hardest part of these figures is deciding which one, if not both, that you want to have in your collection. All right, moving on. And this has been the Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael. And this is an awesome toy based on another toy. And if you like the toy aesthetic of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from back in the day, you will love this figure. I love this figure, not necessarily because it represents the old toy, but I've always been partial to the cartoon version, but I'm very happy to have this. He is packed with accessories. The weapons are cool. You get 3 sets of size and 2 sets of everything else with the weapons tree, alternate hands. I could have done it without, but you know, you gotta have some way to hold your weapons. The pizza slice, the communicators, those are cool, and the presentation of the box, it was just awesome. So if you are interested, this guy is out now. You might be able to find him for about $60 to $75 online or at local comic shops or conventions. So if you're hunting him, good luck. So that's the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, keep playing.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.